Don't forget to subscribe to the Elder Apostle and the Elder Bishop's channels. As you see there before you, I put the scriptures in the description box, or the links in the description box to all 4 channels. Elder Sakaran's channel already has over 1,000 views. I mean, over 1,000 subscribers. But if brothers want to subscribe still, Babakusha. Let's start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Ruach Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is America Will Be Anointed with Fire. This is a title that came to me a little earlier. I wrote it down and a precept started coming to mind. I was looking for a topic of the lesson to go into, and I happened to be listening to Elder Apostle Gabar's video that he just did about 2021, and pretty much wheels started turning, which is the spirit, and then the title came to mind. So I wanted to build off of that title through the spirit. America will be anointed with fire, and that's exactly what's going to happen. What you see happening around the world is pretty much the Lord working on the left hand side to cause these devils to make certain moves so the Lord can checkmate them at the end. And these things must come to pass and will come to pass, and they have to happen before the kingdom of heaven can come. So the sooner they happen, the better. I looked up the word anointed. It means smear or rub with oil, typically as a part of a religious ceremony. But this is the one that I like here. Smear or rub something with any other substance. In this case being America is going to be anointed with fire. You hear Apostle Tara speaking about the great sacrifice that America is an altar that's going to be sacrificed upon. And the word sacrifice, sacri means sacred, and facere means to do or to make. So to make holy. And how is a sacrifice made holy? By fire. And that is the purging and the cleansing, and that's why America is going to be that great altar. Basra, which is another code name for America, which was Esau's capital city. And America is going to be cleansed, of all the filth and wickedness on it by this fire. All right, so we're going to get into it. The first precept I want to go to first and foremost is in the book of Jeremiah. Going to a couple of precepts to establish the points, and our Lord's will, this lesson will be edifying. And shalom to the elders and the Akim on the common board, the sincere ones that are a part of the hopeful elect, and shalom to the sisters also that are sincere and that are doing their best in this truth. This is Jeremiah 23:29. Is not my word like a fire? So the Most High's word is a fire. Right, saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, and like a hammer that breaketh the rock in pieces. And that's what's happening. The words of the Lord are taking hold of this earth because the Lord has risen up his prophets to speak his words. And what the scriptures say, that the Lord uses, he's going to reveal the wicked with the spirit of his mouth, and then he's going to destroy with the brightness of his coming. And that is the anointing of fire that's coming for America. All right, so now we're going to the next one, because the Lord said his word is a fire, and it's like a hammer that breaketh the rock in pieces. Now, when you hit a rock with a hammer, it doesn't break right away. You keep at it, and eventually what happens? It starts to fracture, and eventually it breaks. Now, the Lord can destroy it all at once, but he's taking blows at it, from the words of his book put into the mouth of the prophets. Now let's go to Jeremiah chapter 5 and verse 14. It says, wherefore thus saith the Lord power of hosts, because you speak this word, behold, I will make my words in thy mouth fire, and this people wood, and it shall devour them. Yeah, because it's going to devour the wicked. This word is going to devour the wicked. This word will not go out void. Isaiah 55:11. So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it. And this is why the Lord said, let's go to one more, Isaiah 34:16. It says, seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read, which is the Bible. No one of these shall fail, meaning none of the prophecies are going to fail. None shall want her mate. You can't mate the Bible with any other book to try to get an understanding of it. For my mouth it hath commanded. So the Most High commanded, and his spirit it hath gathered them. So the Lord used his spirit and used the spirit of the angels to gather this knowledge, to push it out, to put it into the minds of the prophets. And it says, and he hath cast a lot for them. In other words, he hath cast a lot for who? For the prophets. And his hand hath divided it unto them by line. See? So the Lord divided this knowledge to the prophets by line. They shall possess it forever. Meaning they're going to hold on to it forever. The elect, the prophets will never lose this word. Because they are directly inspired from the throne of heaven, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. From generation to generation shall they dwell therein, because every time the prophets come back, somehow, some way, they fall into their lot. All right, so with that being said, let's go to the first precept in the book of Genesis, chapter 6, and we're going to start at verse 5. It says, and the powers saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth. So back then, there was a wickedness that was going on in the earth, that was so great that the Lord had to make moves. It says, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually, because the Lord said that he created man upright, but they have sought out many inventions. And they repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. Why? Because the creation of the Lord went rogue. Although we understand now that it had to go down that way, but the creation went rogue. And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have called from the I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast and creeping things, and the fowls of the air, for it repented me that I have made them. So the Lord is about to destroy back then man from the face of the earth. It says, but the exception to the rules, Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord, because back then Noah and his family represented the elect, and the rest of the world was wicked, and the Lord destroyed them. But he saved Noah and his family, which was 8 people, which was a representation of the elect, which is the same thing today. And then eventually he goes on to tell Noah what he was going to do and how he was going to destroy the earth, because here it says the earth also was corrupt before the Most High, and the earth was filled with violence. So how much more now? Look at the wickedness that's going on now. Look at these different pharmaceutical companies and the things that they're doing, and the plans and the agendas that the Lord, that these wicked elite are pushing, to decimate the population of the earth. It says, and the powers looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. And then the Lord said to Noah, and the powers said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. And then he commanded Noah to make an ark, and he gave him specifications, and Noah did that. And that ark today is a representation of the chariots, because back then the earth was destroyed by a flood. The earth was anointed by water. Today, in this time, it's going to be anointed with fire. All right, so now let's get to the heart. Let's get to the root of it. All right, 2 Peter chapter 3 and 3. It says, knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers walking after their own lust. So instead of getting mad at the scoffers, which we do from time to time, but the longer you're in this thing, the more understanding you have, the least upset you get, because you understand that they are a necessary evil. And this is what they say, and saying, where is the promise of his coming? Yeah, so you guys said the year 2000, and they've been saying this, brothers, from the beginning of time. Since there were people on the earth, you had scoffers. Just like you had prophets from the beginning of the earth, you had scoffers from the beginning of the earth. And they come back, just like the prophets come back in their lot, the scoffers come back in their lot. And their job is to scoff. So there's nothing that you could do. There's nothing that any of us could do. There's no way that we can break the scriptures down and make it so crystal clear than it already is, that these individuals will accept the word because they're already destined for that fate, that destruction. They like Esau. People are trying to save these devils, but the scriptures say that, like it speaks about the charmer never so wisely, because there's no sweeter song out there than this one. And the mysteries are revealed and the things are broken down crystal clear to where they see it, but a lot of them are pushing away from it because they don't want to accept it. But that's what the Lord said. What if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of the Most High without effect? The Most High forbid, because the Most High is going to be true, but every man a liar. All right, so it says, for since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of the creation, because their thing is always, it's going to come not in our lifetime, because that is a sentiment that has been passed down through generations. See, that phrase, it's not going to come in our lifetime. It's not something new in this time. This is something it's a generational thing. That the scoffers, that was one of their mantras that they use. It's not going to come in our lifetime. It's going to come in our grandfather. So they like hear that every so many generations, they hear that same phrase, and they keep using it because they're pushing the word of the Lord into the future, so that they don't have to deal with it in their lifetime, so that they don't have to rack their brain and wonder and be nervous and scared about the things that are coming. Ezekiel 12:26. Again, the word of the Lord came to me, saying, Son of man, behold, they of the house of Israel say, the vision that he seeth is for many days to come. And they're pushing it far off so that they can stay and wallow in their comfort zone. And he prophesies of the times that are far off. Therefore say unto them, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, there shall none of my words be prolonged any more, but the word which I have spoken shall be done, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So now how do we know that this is speaking about now? Because we see the prophecy speaking. They're not tarrying anymore, as it speaks of in the book of Habakkuk. They're now taking full force in the earth. And like the sentiment, 2020 was rough, but it's going to be a walk in the park, compared to 2021. You've heard Elder Apostle Tahar say it, Elder Apostle Gabar, the other elders, the other apostles, and brothers that's out there teaching. So 2021 is going to make, like Elder Apostle Tahar said this a while ago, in 2021, you're going to wish for the good old days of 2020. Which is, that's that scripture, that if a man fled from a lion and ran into a bear and then leaned his hand upon the wall and the serpent bit him, it's gonna be stupendous, tremendous, of biblical proportions. All right, so going back to 2 Peter 3:5. For this they willingly are ignorant of, because they're ignorant, just like the people back there were ignorant, even though they were being told by Noah that there was going to be a flood. And since there was going to be a flood and they didn't believe him, guess what? That flood came upon them unawares. Even though it was told them, even though there was preparation going on in their faces, they still couldn't see the signs. It says that by the word of the powers, the heavens were of old. Meaning the different governments back then, because you had governments back then. So people think that, back then, back in the biblical times, which we're still in biblical times, they didn't have no structure, they didn't have no government, they didn't have no empires. They were just crazy and everybody just did whatever they want. No. You had governments back then. You had empires. You had kingdoms and scepters and kings and rulers and princes and all of that. They had a government, they had a structure, they had their priesthood, they had all of that. It says, and the earth standing out of the waters and in the waters, because the earth was not flooded yet, but it had waters around it, and then it also had the elements in the element stage. Because one of the very first things, when it started raining, the Lord said he opened up the floods of the deep and he opened up the floods of heaven. So the Lord was bringing water from beneath. He was bringing water from above. And then sandwiched the world back then and destroyed those wicked people back then and delivered Noah and his family, which was a representation of the elect. It says, whereby the world that then was, being overflowed with water, perished. So it perished by what? By water. They were anointed by that water, which we looked up the word anointed. It says smear or rub something with any other substance. Back then it was water. Today it's fire. Because America will be anointed with fire. But the heavens and the earth, meaning the governments, the empires, and the earth, which are now, even going back during the time of the Apostle Peter and the Apostle Paul and them, Yahweh Shai. Come on, man, leave me alone. It says, but the heavens and the earth, which are now, by the same word, are kept in store. See, they're being preserved. They're kept in store, reserved unto fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men. Hold up 1 second. Yeah, right. Salak about that, brothers. Let's read that again. But the heavens and the earth, which are now by the same word, are kept in store, reserved unto fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men. So the same way the earth was wicked back then, and the wickedness was exceeding great, and the Lord destroyed it by, anointed it with water, destroyed it by water, the same thing is going to happen today. But this time it's not going to be the whole earth that's going to be destroyed. It's going to be America fully, the land of Israel fully, and certain other parts will be hit. And that's why the best place to be is up in the chariots. And this is why these devils built space stations. They built different things and have tested underwater, retreats, cave retreats, things in the earth, up in the heavens, because they're trying to study how the human body operates in these different atmospheres, so that they can pretty much be able to go out there and survive. And for the most part, the elite are going to survive because they're going to be the first crop of slaves. So now let's go from there to the book of Isaiah. Isaiah chapter 9 and verse 5. So it says, for every battle of the warrior is with confused noise. And the Lord said, what did Yahweh say? He said, there shall be wars and rumors of wars, right? So there's always been wars from the beginning of time. The times in the past, you had warriors that put on their armor. They had their shields. And then, when they go to war, they had their arrows and their swords and their daggers and their lances and their arrows and whatever the case they had. And then when they would go to battle, you would hear a great noise, a great cry. Ah, and you hear, when you watch these different period pieces and these different movies, whether it's military or whether it's, medieval or the Greek Empire, the Roman Empire, you always hear like a yell or a shout from the people, and then the metal clanking, people getting their head cut off, their leg chopped off, stabbed, shot, killed, and it's confusion, So it says, and garments rolled in blood, because that's what would happen. They would get together, clash against each other. You get cuts and bruises and just all, just deadly wounds and everything. It says, but this, meaning this battle that's coming, shall be with burning and fuel of fire. Why? Because this one is going to be fought in a different manner. This one is going to be fought with different weapons that the scriptures or the prophets described as being arrows and bows and all that, but the heavens being rolled together as a scroll. But that's what they had at the time to explain the vision that they saw. Just like today, we have certain terminologies today that we can use that if somebody in the future was to read about, they wouldn't understand the terminologies, because it would have a different meaning, in the future than it has now. So this is Isaiah chapter 54, verse 16. Behold, I have created the smith that blew off the coals in the fire. The Most High created the smith, which a smith was one that made weapons. They made, they were iron workers. They would, make horseshoes and different things of metal. And they were the main ones that made shields and lances and, and different armor and different weapons. So the modern day smith today would be who? Would be the scientists, because they went from just knives and swords and lances and spears and all of that to guns, and then eventually to missiles, which the missile technology were different things that they infused together and split different atoms and all that to be able to make a more devastating power. And that power was brought out by what? By fire. So the Lord put the spirit on these scientists. That's why when they after World War II, when Germany was pretty much taken down, they took the scientists and they split them up between Germany, mainly between Russia and America. You had something called the Manhattan Project, which were the so-called, or the scientists that were so-called caught in World War II and were brought over here to what? To work on technology, to build weaponry, to make America's military even greater. But that was the Lord. It says that blow off the coals in the fire and bringeth forth an instrument for his work, which back then was swords and spears and lances. Today is what? Are these missiles. Because they're the ones that came up with the hydrogen bomb and the atomic bomb and the nuclear bomb. So it says, and I have created the waster to destroy. Who is the waster to destroy? The missiles. Which the missiles are going to be what's going to baptize this place, America, with fire. Of course, the lasers also from the chariots, but we're dealing with the missiles at this point. Because there's too many things to cover sometimes. You can't mention every little detail, everything all the time, because the lessons will be 5 hours long. So sometimes you just got to focus on one thing and deal with that. And if brothers get mad, hey, salak it, but you got to just deal with what you got in front of you. All right. So now let's go from there to the book of Amos, chapter 9, verse 8. Now this happened to Israel back then, to the nation of Israel, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. But this applies to America today. Why is that? Well, let's go real quick to Lamentations, the 4th chapter, and the 21st verse. It says, rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, which are the Edomites, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. So all the curses that are in this book that fell upon us is going to fall upon Esau and the other nations. But Esau being the top nation. It says, thou shalt be drunken and shall make thyself naked. And that's what's happening. They're drunken right now. They're like a drunk person that's showing their ass. Doing all kind of bullshit. They're beyond being reasoned with. Because they're in that drunken state. It says, the punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion, you Israelites. He will no more carry thee away into captivity, because after this, there's going to be no more captivity from Esau, upon us. You can read that in 2 Samuel, the 7th chapter. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. Yeah, so now it's your turn. You're up next to drink that cup. So going back, it says, behold, the eyes of the Lord power are upon the sinful kingdom, which America is representative of this sinful kingdom today. Back then it was dealing with the nation of Israel, but today it applies to Esau, because the curses are coming upon him now. And I will destroy it from off the face of the earth. And this is going to be literal, because the Lord is going to destroy Esau and destroy America off the face of the earth. And America is the capital of the New World Order. America is the capital of the whole Edomite empire. Because all those European nations over there were there before America was established. Guess what? Guess who runs those European nations, whether it's the EU or NATO or the UN? America. All right. So this is the actual headquarters, the capital of the new order, the capital of Esau's empire. And that's why the Rothschilds fought so valiantly, underhandedly anyway, by any means, through Haim Solomon, which came to the Americas and pretty much funded the so-called presidents and leaders and of this society, pretty much to to manipulate them into the way of the so-called New World Order. All right, so that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, said the Lord, because a remnant of the nation Israel will be delivered, will be saved. All right, but here in America, the only ones that will be delivered in America are the elect. 2/3 the nations, Esau, that are here on the shores of America when the missiles start flying are out of here. They're done. They're finished. Now, let's go from there to Revelation 21. And this is all happening because of the wickedness that's exceedingly polluting the earth, the minds of the people, and everything else. Revelation 21:8. But the fearful and unbelieving and abominable, which Esau is abominable, and murderers, they are murderers and whoremongers, which did this go to pimps. This has nothing to do with somebody that has a voracious sexual appetite, that has to have different women, as long as those women are not married. Because if you pop in a married woman, you're an adult. This has nothing to do with that. Whoremonger is somebody that sells whores. Just like a warmonger is somebody that sells war, so on and so forth. And sorcerers, which Esau is the top sorcerer, and idolaters, pushing this idolatry upon all the world. And all liars, Esau is the top liar on the planet, shall have their part in the lake, which burneth with fire and brimstone. It also, throw the chariots in there because they have that concentrated fire. They're going to add fire. That's what Yahweh said. But this lake of fire is going to be also made by nuclear missiles. All right, so now let's go from there to the book of Revelation, chapter 20, which our Apostle Torah covers in a lesson that he just recently did. Let's go to Revelation 20, verse 6 first. It says, blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. The first resurrection is the deliverance from America and the persons being established and set up in the land of Israel as the true rulers of the earth underneath Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, the elect of Israel. On such the second death had no power. Yet that's talking about nuclear destruction. It's not going to have power over the elect. It says, but shall be priest of the Most High and of Yahushua, and shall reign with him 1,000 years, because that's going to be the 1,000-year period to establish everything, and the nations being in hardcore slavery, and eventually after that 1,000-year period, Esau being burnt up, and then that's it. Then the nations will have, their freedom to be able to rule among themselves. They'll still be tributary to us. Now let's jump down to the 11th verse. And I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, which is the Most High Yahweh, from whose face the earth and the heavens fled away, and there was no place for them yet, because this wicked society, which we read in 2 Peter the 3rd chapter, this wickedness is no longer going to have any rule, any sway, because it can't stand in the presence of the Most High. And the Most High is going to actually, his presence is going to actually be here, to the earth, even though his presence is here anyway, but righteousness is going to rule. And I saw the dead, great, stand before the Most High, which is with people in general, and the books were open, which is the book of the Bible, and another book was open, which is the book of life. And the book of life is the Bible. It's the that is given to the elect, and the dead were judged out of those things which are written in the book, according to their works. Yeah, because Yahushua even said, I believe Yahushua said it in either Mark, Luke, or John, that when he comes back, he's going to bring judgment upon the just and the unjust. His part judgment. Those that are destined for salvation get salvation. Those that are destined for death get death. And the sea gave up the dead which were in it, because there's still a lot of bodies that died in the sea. And death and hell delivered up dead which were in them, meaning the ones that are in the grave, no matter where they may be. And they will judge every one unto their works. And death and hell will cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. So that's what's going to happen. You know, the second death, nuclear missile, the destruction, you know, of course, chariots, but the nuclear missile, which is what we're focusing in on this lesson. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life is cast into the lake of fire. Yeah, so those that are destined to be destroyed, that's it. So what the Apostle John pretty much saw was, he was in a chariot looking down, and he saw America engulfed in fire. And it looked like a big lake on fire. Just like if you look at a lake of water, just imagine that lake now being on fire. That's what John saw from the chariot. So that was what? That was America being anointed with fire. All right. So let's go from there. Let's go from there. I don't know why I did that. Let's from there to let's see. Go to Isaiah 13 now. And 9. It says, behold, the day of the Lord Yahweh cometh cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, because the Most High is upset. And he's coming to take out frustration, so to speak, for lack of better words, on this place. He's just going to let it all out. He's going to let it all hang out. And he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. Yeah. Because you have sin that's being pushed by the top sinners, which is Esau, the Edomites, the international bankers. You have people that are swayed by that wickedness. And they're being taken and engulfed, immersed in that wickedness. Speak about the kings of the earth, you know, dealing with the fornication of the whore in so many words. So they're caught up, they're pickled in it. So Lord got something for them. It says, for the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their. This is dealing with Esau's knowledge, wisdom, and understanding from their governmental agencies. And also in the missiles, that smoke and that, you know, the smoke that's going to be going up is going to blot out the sun, you know, in certain parts of the earth for a period of time. The sun shall be darkened and is going forth, and the moon shall not cause the light to shine, because they're not going to be able to explain this away. See, now they can explain things away from some strange phenomenon and this theory and that theory, but in that day, they're not going to be able to explain shit away. But this is, and I will punish the world for their evil. And that's why this place is being up for destruction, to be anointed with fire. It says, and the wicked for their iniquity, and I will cause the arrogance of the proud to cease. Yeah, and nobody will be popping off in that. It says, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. Who terrible? That's Esau. The international bankers. And they are haughty. You can see it when you look at them, when you hear them talk. You can see the arrogance in them. Like they're peasants, but they're peasants that have mastered the art of a ruling class mentality. That's why it says that I've seen servants, horses, and princes walking on the ground, you know? So they've mastered that. So when this starts to happen, you know, and in the midst of, just before the total destruction of this place, it says, I will make a man more precious than fine, even a man of the knowledge of Ophir. This is dealing with the men of the nation of Israel. You know? Then it says, therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place with the judgment that's coming upon it, lake fire, and the wrath of the Lord of hosts, and the day of his fierce anger. The Lord will be busy on this place. All right, so now let's get real quick to the book of Second Ezra. Is going to get the 15 and 5. Oh, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction, for wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth. See, and this happened during Esau's reign in America. But no other nation ever had sway or control over the whole earth like Esau does now. Even when they were the Romans, you know, the point of that now they have control over the whole earth, and their wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works filled. So now that they for mandatory chip, then it's gonna get real. Why the hell does it keep doing this? Rat, I don't want you to go there. Okay, now. Oh yeah, because they're saying that no, you know, with the whole vaccine thing, it's not going to be the federal government. It's going to make it mandatory. These different businesses and supermarkets and, you know, gyms and movie theaters, they're the ones that's going to really push making it mandatory to take that, you know, or otherwise you can't go and shop or go there or enjoy, you know, their benefits or whatever the case may be. Because the federal government, the government in general, is going to put restrictions, lay heavy restrictions upon them. Because the international bankers who own these major corporations are the ones that own the governments. That's why people tripped up, because, you know, they don't have the broader picture. You have a person that claims to be woke and claims to know what's going on, and then that'll come up and say, yeah, well, see, no, they're not really gonna, the government, it's really these businesses, you know. Man, shut the hell up, man. It's the international bankers that control sides. It's called controlled opposition. That way on both sides, man. And of course, these are businesses are gonna say, well, if you don't get the max, you can't come and shop here. If you don't wear your mask, you can't come and shop here. Why? Because their heavy restrictions are gonna be put upon them. And what do you think they do? They're suffering right now because of you know, this whole situation gave them hardship as far as financial situation is concerned. So what do you think they're going to do? They're going to comply with what the government says, but the government is going to turn around and make it seem like the business's fault. It's control position coming up from the higher echelon of so-called international banking families. All right, now let's go from there back to Isaiah. I'm sorry. Yeah, back to Isaiah 13. Let's go to the 17th verse. It says, behold, I will stir up the Medes. Now the Medes, the Mede Empire was up above around Armenia, like in that area, going into like in that area, going into the between, you know, where the so-called Georgia, Russia, in that area there, and that was where they governed at one time. Now this Medes is an application. This is an application to the Russians. This has nothing to do with the ancient Medes. This is something to do with the modern day Medes, the so-called Russians. So, but I will stir up the Medes against them, which in regard silver, as for gold, they should not delight in it. Yeah, America's thing and Esau's thing, anyone that's what the international bankers families do. You know, whenever there's a problem, throw money at it. But there's going to be a point that the Russians are not going to regard your money, and regard your gold or your silver. It says their bold shall dash the young men in pieces, representative of the missiles. It says, and have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. Yeah, and Babylon, America, the glory of kingdoms. See, because they are exalted above all other kingdoms. The beauty of his excellence shall be as when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. And when you read history on Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed by fire, in which the Lord caused the elements in the heavens to fuse together and create big balls of fire that came down upon those five cities and destroyed them. But this time, what the Lord did was He took that same technology and that infusion and worked in the minds of these scientists that were brought over from Germany during the Manhattan Project and other stuff that they were doing back then, and work in these different labs and manipulate these different atoms and these elements to be able to infuse together to create this devastation, the great devastation caused by fire. And then put them into warheads that can transport them from one earth to the other. That it is. That's what the Lord did. So when the Lord destroys this place, it shall never be inhabited. Never. No individual, no person, no anything is going to be here except for neither shall man, the fuck, man. What the fuck is going on here? So like it, brother, just thinking out loud. Neither shall the Arabian, which are these Ishmaelites, pitch tent there. Yeah, because Ishmaelites are not going to be able to come over here and set up shop. Neither shall the shepherds make there. Yeah, because you have different people from different nations come. They're nothing, and they come to America and become great. Then you ain't gonna have that anymore, because this excellency, this glory that they had is gonna be as when the Most High through Sodom and Gomorrah. It's gonna be nothing here, but wild beasts of the desert shall be there, and the houses shall be full of doleful creatures. Now, the wild beast lying there, this goes in hand with the book of Revelation, the 18th chapter. All right, it speaks about doleful creatures. Look up the word doleful creatures. If it allows to go, because now it's starting to act stupid. Boy. Oh well. Let's try it one more time. If it doesn't go, then just leave it. All right. Which is which is brother, but or acha, which is howling animal, jackal, hyena, a howler, or some wild animal. Yeah, so you're just gonna hear that like in them Bela Lugosi, just ancient Dracula movies. He used to hear the wolves howling at night. He said, children of the night. Doleful, expressing sorrow, mournful, yeah, causing grief or misfortune, yeah. So why did this going to be a desolate place? It's not going to be in any place where, like right now, it's was called Funland. Oscar Bard knows about that from the Pinocchio movie, but it's become doleful land. It's mourning. There's not going to be anything here but these creatures. It says an owl shall dwell there, and satyr shall dance there, and the wild beasts of the island shall cry in the desolate houses, and dragons in the pleasant palaces. And her time. Why does it say the pleasant palaces and the desolate houses? Because there's not going to be anything growing here. You ain't going to have, like in Isaiah, I believe it's Isaiah 34, speaks about that they're going to call the nobles, nobody's going to be there. Yeah, because the White House and these different buildings, governmental buildings, and buildings that people esteem highly are going to be totally destroyed. There's not going to be anything there. So these animals, these creatures, are going to be walking in the planet of the apes. The forbidden zone. The forbidden zone, man, you do this one more time, man. The forbidden zone was pretty much America, destroyed. And her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. Yeah, because we're coming down to the wire now. It's coming down to the wire now, where everything is being up. And this is what's going to be left here. So America will be anointed uh, with fire, which is that nuclear fire. You know, if you want even more, you can go to Revelation 18 and read about how it's destroyed in 1 hour. I mean, this is a topic that can go on for days. You know, so if brothers want to jump on it, you know, and do a lesson off of this, you know, inspired to do a lesson off of this lesson, hey, so you know, so this is a beautiful thing. Let me some of these precepts that brothers got on the comment board. A lot that haven't been paying attention. ADC named in one Wall City, which represented back then, but it affects America now. It is all full of lies and robbery. Prayed the part of night. Same thing here in America. The most Nahum 1:2, the most jealous, and the Lord revengeth. The Lord is bringing the vengeance. The Lord revengeth and is fierce. The Lord will take vengeance on his adversary, and he reserveth wrath for his enemies. That's right. Verse 5. The mountains quake at him because there's going to be a shaking, a great shaking in the land. It tells you that Ezekiel 38, it tells that in Isaiah 24. And the hills melt because the hills representative, mountain hills are representative of these government. You know, so they'll be nervous because they're not going to know what to do. Because they're used to being in control. They're used to finding answers for solutions for problems. There's not going to be any solutions for this problem. It says the earth is burnt at his presence. That's right. When Yahweh Shai comes back, he's going to tear this place. He's going to turn this mother sucker out. His world and all that dwell therein. See? So it's going to be a devastation. Who can stand before his indignation? Yeah, because indignation means righteous anger. And that's how they're going to judge this place. You know? He's going to lay his fury upon it. And who can, that's why the place to be is in the chariots. And who can abide in the fierceness of anger? See? His fury is poured out like fire, and the rocks are thrown down. And yeah, so these damn shelters, any shelter in America, ground, deep military bases, all of that, like other parts of the world is saying that's going to be their grip. That's right. Job 5:12, same by the ADC. Disappointed the devices of the crafty, that their hand perform their enterprise. He taketh the in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the froward is carried headlong. Because the same thing that they're using to establish their so-called New World Order is to be what devastates and destroys them. Psalm 7 and I started at 11. The Most High judges the righteous, and the Most High angry with the wicked every day. The Lord said, what if the Most High willing to show of wrath, endure with much long suffering, the vessels of wrath and destruction? The Most High want to open up on this devil, but you know he's bound by his word. If he turn not, he will whet his sword. He hath bent his bow and made it ready. So it's ready. He hath also prepared for him the instrument of death. He ordaineth his arrows against the persecutor. So everything is already set. Esau has been inside the whole time. Even though the Lord ain't really shoot at him. I mean, he do little things here and there, but he ain't really shoot at him yet. He ain't take that sharpshooter shot. You know, that last shot, that kill shot. He ain't shoot the kill shot yet. It's right there. Ready. He's in the scope. He got him scoped. And all they gotta do is just pull the trigger. Now he's taking that breath, and then you hold the breath, and then you pull the trigger. So that's what it's at, man. So Esau's in the Most High scope. Behold, he travaileth with iniquity, and hath conceived mischief, and brought forth falsehood. That's the moral order. That's all it is. It's travailing in iniquity, conceiving mischief, and bringing forth falsehood. And that's what that whole that's what they call it, a dystopian. You know, a society of dystopia, which is a bad place. So he says he made a pit and digged it, because the New World Order is a pit and is falling into the which he made, because those moves that he makes in his so-called New World Order is going to be the very thing that destroys him, the very thing that makes the tables turn. Once the Most High shoots at him, remember he's in the Most High scope. He's about to take that shot, that final shot. His mischief shall return upon his own head. The New World Order is going to return upon his own head, and his violent dealing shall come down upon his own pate, because this is going to be what's going to destroy them. Greed. You figure they have more than heart could wish, have more than anyone could ever wish for. You would think they would chill, and just do what they gotta do. Nah, they just gotta be more mischievous, because that's what they're created for. They were created wicked, man. I will praise the Lord according to his righteousness, and will sing to the name of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Most High. All right. That's a good one too. Let's see. Dark matter, the Nahum 1 and 3. It says, Elder Malcolm said, burn, baby, burn. That's right. Ditto Inferno. Dark matter, Nahum 1 and 3. The Lord is anger and great in power, and will not at all look wicked. That's right. GMS loyalty, Ecclesiastes 39:29. Fire and hail and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance. That's right. Yaquab Judah 4:22. The punishment of thy iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry the way into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. That's right. He will discover thy sins, and that's what was happening. They're being discovered right now. Tribe of Judah, this is 19:24. Then the Lord rained upon Sodom more brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven. Isaiah, GMS loyalty, Isaiah 66:16. For by fire and sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. Beautiful. KT again, Psalms 9:15. The heathen sunk down in the pit that they made, in the net which they hid, own foot taken. Yep. Psalm 17:13. Arise, O Lord, disappoint them, cast them down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. Psalm 73:5. They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. Yep. Therefore pride compasseth them about as a chain, violence covereth them as a garment. It says they set their mouth against the heavens, and their tongue walketh through the earth. Yeah, man, these devils are super proud. GMS loyalty, Revelation 18:10. Standing afar off with the fear of a torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. That's right. So the Lord's going to anoint America with fire. And it'll be a great anointing on this place. All right, so with that, I pray that you brothers have been edified. The next time I say, Shalom.